In the world of Greek mythology, I am Persephone, daughter of Zeus and Demeter, the goddess of agriculture. My life was filled with beauty and joy, tending to the flowers and bringing life to the earth. The mortal beings admired me for my kindness and the love I poured into every living thing around me. But my tranquil existence was shattered one fateful day when I wandered into a meadow, captivated by the blooming flowers. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath my feet, and a dark chasm opened before me. Out of the abyss emerged Hades, the formidable god of the underworld. Fear gripped my heart as Hades swept me up into his chariot drawn by black stallions. I tried to escape, but his power was overwhelming, and against my will I was carried down to the depths of the underworld, leaving my home and my mother behind. In the underworld, I found myself in a place of eternal darkness and sorrow. The souls of the deceased surrounded me, their haunting cries echoing in the silence. I felt trapped, imprisoned in a world that offered no comfort or solace. The vibrant colors of my home above were replaced with shades of gray and black, and the once sweet fragrance of flowers gave way to the scent of death and decay. Hades believed that I would come to love him if he showered me with riches and offered me a crown as his queen. But my heart belonged to the world of the living. I longed for the sun's warm embrace, the gentle breeze that caressed my skin, and the laughter of the mortals I had cared for. I wept for my lost freedom in the world I loved, my tears falling like raindrops on the cold, lifeless ground. Each day felt like an eternity, a never-ending cycle of suffering and loneliness. In the underworld, my only companion was the three-headed dog Cerberus, guardian of the realm. Despite his fearsome appearance, he showed me kindness and loyalty, a silent comfort in my solitude. Back in the world above, my mother Demeter was in despair. The once lush and fertile lands turned barren, and famine spread across the earth. The mortals pleaded for my return, for they knew that my presence brought life and abundance. But Hades refused to release me, convinced that I would come to love him. My mother sought the help of other gods and goddesses, begging for my freedom, but Hades remained unmoved. As the months passed, my mother's grief continued, and the earth suffered under the weight of her sorrow. The once vibrant fields turned into desolate wastelands, and the mortals prayed for a resolution to the tragedy that had befallen us. Finally, the mighty Zeus intervened, moved by the mortals' prayers and the plight of the earth. He sent Hermes, the messenger of the gods, to negotiate with Hades for my release. Hermes, with his silver wings, descended to the underworld and presented Hades with a plea from Zeus. After much persuasion, and with the promise that I would return to him for part of the year, Hades reluctantly agreed to let me go. As I emerged from the darkness of the underworld and stepped back into the world of the living, my heart swelled with joy and relief. I was reunited with my mother Demeter, and the earth around us burst into bloom once more. Spring returned, bringing life and hope to the land. But the joy of our reunion was bittersweet. As part of the agreement, I had to spend part of the year in the underworld, symbolizing the arrival of winter and the cycle of life and death. And so, the story of my undeserved suffering and the eternal cycle of my life unfolded. My heart carried the weight of the underworld, a reminder of the sacrifices made for the balance of the world. Each year, I returned to the darkness, longing for the warmth of the sun and the embrace of my mother. My life as Persephone, the goddess of spring and the queen of the underworld, is a tale of love, loss, and resilience, a reminder that even in the face of darkness, there is always the hope of a new beginning. In the realm of Greek mythology, I am Andromeda, a beautiful princess of the kingdom of Ethiopia. My life began with privilege and comfort, the daughter of Queen Cassiopeia and King Cepheus, rulers known for their vanity and arrogance. From a young age, I was taught that my beauty was unmatched, and my parents often boasted that I surpassed even the sea nymphs in loveliness. Their pride and arrogance blinded them to the consequences of their words. One day, as we were basking in our self-proclaimed glory, my mother, Queen Cassiopeia, dared to insult the nymphs of the sea, claiming that my beauty surpassed theirs. This act of arrogance deeply offended the mighty sea god Poseidon, who saw himself as the protector of the sea nymphs. Enraged by my mother's vanity, Poseidon unleashed his wrath upon our kingdom. He sent a terrifying sea monster, known as Cetus, to wreak havoc on our shores and punish us for our pride. As the monster ravaged our kingdom, my parents desperately sought a way to appease the gods and end the destruction. In a misguided attempt to save our people, they decided that I would be the sacrifice to the sea monster, a cruel and undeserved fate. Bound to a rock by the seashore, I awaited my tragic destiny. The sea monster's menacing roars filled the air and the waves crashed around me. I was a prisoner of my parents' arrogance, a pawn in the gods' wrath. As the sea monster approached, ready to claim its prey, despair filled my heart. I was innocent, undeserving of this horrifying fate. I closed my eyes, ready to meet my end, when suddenly a brave and gallant hero appeared before me. It was Perseus, the son of Zeus, who had come to my rescue. With his swift movements and the help of the winged horse Pegasus, he defeated the sea monster, rescuing me from my cruel fate. Perseus explained that he had seen me as a constellation in the sky, my beauty immortalized as a reward for my bravery and endurance. My suffering had not gone unnoticed, and the gods had decided to honor me for my undeserved plight. As I returned to my kingdom with Perseus, I couldn't help but feel a mixture of gratitude and sadness. Gratitude for being saved from the sea monster's clutches, and sadness for the injustice I had endured. The kingdom celebrated my rescue, but deep inside, I carried the weight of my parents' arrogance and the injustice I had faced. I had been a victim of circumstances beyond my control, a sacrifice to appease the gods' wrath for my parents' vanity. From that day on, I became a beacon of hope and a symbol of resilience. I used my position to advocate for humility and empathy, teaching my people the importance of kindness and understanding. As the years passed, I married Perseus, and we ruled with compassion and wisdom, striving to bring harmony to the realm. I used my newfound voice to help those who faced injustice and suffering, knowing all too well the pain they endured. My life as Andromeda became a story of triumph over adversity, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of undeserved suffering. Through my experiences, I learned that even in the darkest of times, there is hope, and with love and empathy, we can overcome the injustices that life throws our way. In the realm of Greek mythology, I am Bellerophon, a valiant and courageous hero. My life was once filled with glory and triumph, but it was also marred by undeserved suffering and injustice that I could have never foreseen. As a mortal born in the city of Corinth, I was destined for greatness. My lineage traced back to the mighty god Poseidon, filling my veins with the essence of divine strength and valor. From a young age, I showed promise and skill in the art of warfare, becoming known for my bravery and fearlessness. It was during my time in Corinth that I encountered the winged horse Pegasus. With the guidance of the goddess Athena, I managed to tame the magnificent creature, forging an unbreakable bond between us. Together we became an invincible team, soaring through the skies and earning the admiration of all who beheld us. My fame reached the heavens, catching the attention of the gods themselves. With pride swelling in my heart, I dreamed of achieving even greater feats and attaining a place among the immortal heroes of old. However, as I reveled in my triumphs, I unknowingly drew the ire of the gods, and their jealousy led to my undeserved suffering. One day, I was invited to the royal court of King Proteus, ruler of Tirans. Little did I know that this invitation concealed a sinister plot against me. Jealous of my fame and accomplishments, King Proteus secretly sought my downfall. As I arrived at the court, I was greeted warmly, and I reveled in the admiration and applause. But beneath the surface, King Proteus plotted my demise. He devised a plan to send me on an impossible quest, hoping that I would never return. He spoke of a fearsome creature called the Chimera, a monstrous beast with the body of a lion, the head of a goat, and the tail of a serpent. This formidable creature had terrorized the land, and the king believed that I, with my heroic reputation, could defeat it. Blinded by my desire for glory and the belief in my own invincibility, I accepted the challenge without hesitation. Little did I know that the gods had manipulated my fate, leading me into a trap of my own making. As I set out on my quest, I was filled with confidence, certain that victory was within my grasp. But the Chimera proved to be a formidable adversary, its fiery breath and monstrous form striking terror into my heart. In the midst of battle, the gods intervened, causing my spear to falter and my aim to go awry. My attempts to defeat the Chimera were in vain, and I found myself facing defeat and humiliation. As I returned to King Proteus empty-handed, I was met with scorn and derision. He denounced me as a failure and an impostor, claiming that I had exaggerated my skills and prowess. The once admiring crowd now jeered and mocked me, their laughter ringing in my ears. I felt the weight of their judgment, the bitter taste of defeat searing my pride. My undeserved suffering had only just begun. Betrayed by the very king who had invited me to his court, I found myself branded as a fraud and an impostor, my reputation tarnished. Fleeing from Tirans, I wandered the land in disgrace, haunted by the shame of my failure and the injustice of my fate. The gods' jealousy and manipulation had cast me into the depths of despair, and I questioned the purpose of my existence. But in the darkest of moments, a glimmer of hope emerged. As I roamed the land in exile, I encountered a wise and benevolent king named Proteus, ruler of Lycia. He offered me sanctuary and solace, recognizing my true worth beyond the judgment of others. Under King Proteus's guidance, I found redemption and a new sense of purpose. No longer driven by the pursuit of glory, I sought to be a humble and honorable warrior, using my skills to protect and serve those in need. And so, my story as Bellerophon continued, a tale of undeserved suffering and redemption. I learned that true greatness lies not in the admiration of others, but in the courage to face one's own flaws and find strength in humility. Through my trials and tribulations, I discovered that the gods' jealousy and the cruelty of fate could not define my true worth. I was more than a hero of conquests and victories. I was a mortal with flaws and vulnerabilities, on a journey of self-discovery and redemption. My heart soared alongside Pegasus, and together we embraced our new path, seeking not glory, but the pursuit of inner peace and understanding. In the realm of Greek mythology, I am Cassandra, the princess of Troy, blessed with the gift of prophecy by the god Apollo. My life was marked by both a divine blessing and an undeserved curse, as my gift brought me unimaginable suffering and injustice. From a young age, I possessed the ability to see glimpses of the future, a power granted to me by the god Apollo himself. However, this gift came with a cruel twist. Although I could see the truth of what was to come, I was cursed so that no one would believe my prophecies. As the daughter of King Priam and Queen Hecuba, I was cherished and loved by my family. My siblings looked up to me, and my parents admired my wisdom and foresight. But despite my ability to see the truth, I knew that my words would fall on deaf ears. When the god Apollo first bestowed his gift upon me, I was filled with wonder and awe. I thought that my visions would be a source of guidance and wisdom for my people, that I could help prevent tragedies and avert disasters. Little did I know that my prophecies would be my greatest burden. When the god Apollo first bestowed his gift upon me, I was filled with wonder and awe. I thought that my visions would be a source of guidance and wisdom for my people, that I could help prevent tragedies and avert disasters. Little did I know that my prophecies would be my greatest burden. One of the earliest prophecies I uttered was about the Trojan War. I warned my family and the people of Troy that the Greek army would lay siege to our city, and that our downfall was imminent if we did not take heed. However, my words were dismissed as the ramblings of a madwoman, and my warnings went unheeded. As the Greek army encircled Troy and the war raged on, my prophecies continued to come true, each one a painful reminder of my cursed existence. I saw the fall of the city, the destruction of our home, and the deaths of my loved ones, but my pleas for action were met with ridicule and scorn. In the midst of the chaos and bloodshed, I sought refuge in the temple of Athena, hoping that the goddess of wisdom and strategy would listen to my words. I prayed that she would spare my people and end the senseless violence, but my prayers fell on deaf ears, and my pleas for mercy were ignored. As the war reached its devastating climax, I knew that my own fate was sealed. I had foreseen my own death at the hands of a vengeful Greek soldier, and there was nothing I could do to change it. My gift had become a cruel burden, a curse that haunted my every waking moment. When the Greek soldiers finally breached the walls of Troy, I watched helplessly as our beloved city crumbled around us. My family and friends fell one by one, their fates sealed by the gods who had forsaken us. I wanted to scream, to warn them, but my voice was silenced by the curse that bound me. In the chaos and destruction, I was captured by the Greek commander Agamemnon, who saw my gift as a valuable asset. He believed that my prophecies could aid him in his conquests and grant him victory in future battles. I was taken as a prisoner, forced to serve a man who saw me as nothing more than a tool to further his own ambitions. As the years passed, I remained a captive. My gift of prophecy used to benefit those who had caused my people such suffering and pain. I longed for freedom, to be released from the burden of my cursed sight, but I knew that my fate was entwined with that of the gods. In the end, I was proved right in my visions, but at a terrible cost. The prophecies that I had tried so desperately to share with my people were fulfilled, and the once great city of Troy lay in ruins. I was a witness to the downfall of my homeland, a prisoner of my own cursed gift. My life as Cassandra was a tale of undeserved suffering and injustice. Despite the divine gift of prophecy bestowed upon me by Apollo, I was condemned to a life of loneliness, sorrow, and unbelief. My visions of the future were my greatest curse, and my cries for help went unanswered. In the end, I learned that even the greatest gifts from the gods can be tainted by injustice. My fate was not in my hands, but in the hands of those who refused to listen. And so my story as Cassandra serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most powerful gifts can become a burden when met with disbelief and ignorance. In the world of Greek mythology, I am Chiron, the wise and gentle centaur, with the upper body of a man and the lower body of a horse. My life was one of both great wisdom and undeserved suffering, as I endured the consequences of a tragic mistake that was not of my own making. I was born to the Titan Cronus and the ocean nymph Philyra. My unique appearance, half human and half horse, set me apart from others, but I embraced my nature with grace and humility. Despite being a centaur, a creature often associated with wildness and violence, I sought knowledge and understanding above all else. I became known as a great teacher and healer, revered for my wisdom and compassion. Many heroes sought my tutelage, and I gladly shared my knowledge with them. My home, a cave on Mount Pelion, became a sanctuary for those in need, a place of solace and learning. However, my life took a dark turn when I was accidentally wounded by a poisoned arrow. The great hero Heracles, in the midst of his labors, was struggling to subdue the centaurs during a conflict at a wedding feast. In the chaos of battle, he unleashed a volley of arrows, one of which struck me. The poison of the arrow seeped into my immortal flesh, causing immense pain and suffering. As a being of immortality, I was condemned to bear this pain for eternity, unable to find release or healing. This cruel twist of fate was undeserved, for I had never been a part of the centaur's aggression, nor had I taken part in the violence that erupted at the wedding. I was a creature of wisdom and compassion, and my sole purpose was to bring understanding and healing to those around me. As the pain of the poisoned wound coursed through my body, I sought remedies and treatments to ease my suffering. But try as I might, I could find no relief. I withdrew from the world, retreating into the depths of my cave, where I could be alone with my pain and sorrow. Despite my suffering, I never lost sight of my purpose as a teacher and healer. Even in my agony, I continued to impart my wisdom to those who sought it. I became a guiding light for the heroes who visited me, offering counsel and support in their quests and endeavors. As the years passed, my legend grew, and my name became synonymous with wisdom and healing. But beneath the surface, the pain of my wound remained a constant reminder of the injustice I had endured. One day, a brave and noble hero named Achilles sought my guidance. He was the son of a mortal king and the sea nymph Thetis, blessed with great strength and valor. Little did I know that his visit would forever alter the course of my life. As Achilles sought my advice and training, I saw in him a potential for greatness and glory. But in my heart, I also saw the dark shadow of destiny looming over him. I foresaw that he would meet a tragic end on the battlefield of Troy, his life cut short in the prime of his youth. Desperate to spare Achilles from this fate, I offered him guidance and counsel, warning him of the dangers that lay ahead. But like so many before him, Achilles chose not to heed my words. The arrogance of youth blinded him to the wisdom of my prophecies, and he continued on his path of glory and conquest. As the war with Troy raged on, my prophecy came to pass. Achilles fell in battle, and his untimely death sent shockwaves through the world. The hero who had once sought my wisdom and guidance was now gone, his life cut short by the very destiny I had foreseen. In the aftermath of the war, I continued to live in solitude, my pain and suffering serving as a constant reminder of the injustice I had endured. My life as Chiron was one of wisdom, compassion, and healing, but it was also marred by the unrelenting agony of my poisoned wound. Through it all, I held on to the belief that my purpose was to bring understanding and compassion to the world. My suffering had not been in vain, for it had taught me the true meaning of empathy and resilience. And so my story as Chiron serves as a testament to the power of wisdom and compassion in the face of undeserved suffering. I may have been burdened with a painful wound and the weight of my prophecies, but I chose to rise above my pain and offer solace and guidance to those in need. My legacy lives on, not just as a wise and gentle centaur, but as a symbol of hope and strength in the face of life's injustices.